Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
In America, I think it's basically three things you need to do, which will never change in my opinion. Hard work, because there's no substitute for hard work, right? You know that.
Right.
The second one is education. I didn't have a choice. Even though my dad said follow my dreams, but the choice was, okay, I couldn't drop out of high school to follow my dreams. You
Right.
had to get educated, right? And the last one is that you should, America has this one special gift, and that is it doesn't put you in a box.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode on Future of Work. We've been talking to people from all over the world. Today we have someone who's an Indian based out of the US. I don't think he was born Indian, because he was born in Guyana. He's a son of an immigrant couple, and we're going to understand his journey in the US, how he's built businesses. The first business he's built was at the age of 19, and today at the age of 51 he's running a very successful business in an area which is very interesting, unique, and not typically Indian. You will see Indians running motels and running transportation businesses and even getting into the Silicon Valley startups now, but he's running a business which typically hasn't been an Indian domain, especially abroad. He runs a company called Fat Dog Spirits right now, which makes some very interesting beverages. So we're going to talk to Dr. Ramcharran. Dr. Ramcharran, thank you so much for doing this with us, and welcome to this episode.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Okay, doctor, to begin with, I understand that you were not born in India. You were born in Guyana, and then at the age of 1, you moved to the US. And still, we Indians like to believe that there is always a part of Indian origin people which is Indian. So which parts of you are Indian, which parts of you are American, and which parts of you are Guyanese in that sense?
No, that's a very good question. I'm always toying with this question because we always have this conversation in the household. We always talk about my quote unquote Indianness, but I think what happens is that for me, being an Indian is all about our culture and values. I don't know anything but being an Indian because my parents were very Indo-centric in their culture, their behavior, their religion, the foods we ate. But as an American, being brought up here, you learn to appreciate the values and the culture that is around you in America. And I think that's been a good balance for us.
After your schooling, what made you pursue a business degree? Why not get into engineering or the sciences or any of the other areas? Why get into business?
My dad was an accountant, a very successful accountant, came from a long line of business people. I actually dropped out of law school because I was expected to be a lawyer. And when that didn't happen, I think it came very natural. The entrepreneur fire that was in my belly came out very naturally. Like you said, I started my first company at 19. It was basically a research company in how to help individuals get grants and funding to go to college. I was lucky enough at age 18, 19, I got many academic scholarships. So I did a lot of research, and I was able to share that knowledge and got paid for it. And it was very successful for 3 years.
Interesting. Okay, so during your business degree, while you were studying business, what were your thoughts about your career? Where did you think you wanted to go? And then how did we segue into military duty?
The military just happened by an accident. Like I said, I grew up here, so I was very into serving my country and wanting to do something beneficial for it because it's been so good to me and my family. I just basically went to support one of my high school friends, and I took the exam for screening, and the military kept pursuing me to the point where they offered me a full scholarship to go to officer training. For me at that time, I was like, as an immigrant, how was I going to pay for college? That was a great way of alleviating the stress of my parents. So that's how the military found me, or I found the military. And I'll tell you, to this day, it's probably one of the best decisions I ever made, because it laid the foundation and groundwork for how I go about running my companies. Discipline, having structure, process, systems, working in great teams. It wasn't until after I joined the military full time that I started working on my MBA, because at some point in time I knew I had to really make some money after I left the service. Because it wasn't gonna be a career for me, obviously, but
Right.
an MBA was really good. I studied finance and international business.
So you come back from military service, you've done your education, you've done your PhD. How are you looking at your career from here on? How did you go about progressing through that middle phase of your life where you're also building a family and also trying to build a career? So what was that phase like?
It's like you feel like you're kind of lost for a little bit. You don't have money, you're trying to build a family, you're building a career. When I came out of the military, I had to find a regular job. That was a culture shock, because I knew I woke up at 4:30 in the morning, I went to bed at 10:30, and I did it for 3 years pretty much every day. So what was beneficial to me is that I had a great mentor. When I was growing up, was my uncle and my dad, after he passed away. And he told me one very simple thing. He says, go and find and do something that you're very passionate about. I started my company, which was with my wife. She's a physician as well. She's an MD, and she had one medical office, and then we took it from one medical office to 8 that we owned, to having 26 physicians working for us, all in the space of 7 years.
Nice.
So it was, trust me, it was a struggle. It was a struggle. As an entrepreneur, you're always reinventing yourself, right? It's just something, you see an opportunity that someone may have not seen. And that's what happened with Fat Dog Spirits. As I mentioned to you, I was consulting with a startup, and the gentleman actually worked with Fat Dog. It was a marketing company. He did their marketing, and the company had shut down for almost a 3-year period, and they were about to basically close the doors forever. And then he said to me, he says, "Hey, listen, I know you want to buy my company, but why don't you look at this instead?" So my wife and I went and looked at it. But I'll tell you, this is an interesting story, because it lays the groundwork for what happens. Because as I mentioned to you, I'm not a big drinker at all. I never drank vodka in my life. As an Indian, I'm so used to having, scotch and whiskey, that kind of thing, and a gin on occasion.
Right.
But before I bought this company, we vetted it for almost 6 months.
$60 vodka sounds ridiculous to an Indian person. To find a market for that kind of a vodka and to then make a successful business out of it. Take me through that, and then we'll come to the most interesting product in your arsenal as well.
When we bought the company, this Fat Dog had a brand called Touch Vodka, and it's an artisan vodka only made from honey. It's the only vodka ever made from honey, so it's very expensive. They sold some of it, but when we took over, we sold a lot of it, because what we did is we shrunk the production, we rebranded the packaging, and we artificially created a demand, because it was very hard to find. So the $60 and $59 price range was like, oh wow, if they can find it, it was great. But more importantly, we had a great story to it, because it was wildflower honey made from the Everglades, no pesticides, the finest bees, et cetera, and people really love great stories. Right. And the story sold itself, because, and more importantly, the product was exceptional, because Sadhana did a really good job of reformulating that product, and we made it exceptional. And right now we only produce it during the month of October through December, and once it's done, it's done. We make 1,000 bottles of it, and once it's sold, it's done, no more.
Let's come to the latest interesting product that you guys have made. And Let's also talk about how you've married your Indian heritage in marketing that product as well.
You know, we have a 27-year-old. He was, at the time he was in med school. He said to his mom and myself, he said, you guys should create a vodka that has a great experience. And I said, what do you mean? He said, something that, everyone would want to try and have it at a good price point. So I said, okay. So the name Nirvana popped into my brain right away when he said experience. So I said, and my wife said, we were actually driving to Fort Lauderdale on a business trip. And I said, I want to call it Nirvana. So my wife said, you know what? Why don't you put marijuana? That'll give you a real experience. At the time, we started laughing because she has been prescribing cannabis as an alternative to opioids for years. So she really understands how that...
Her medicinal practice.
Exactly. So she knows how the plant works. And what I wanted to do was create something that gave that relaxed feeling. What we quickly realized was that there was no other products on the market like what we did. And we wanted to actually put hemp in the bottle and keep it in the bottle. All the other companies out there, what they do is they ferment with cannabis. My wife and a scientist buddy and I got together, and we had three things that we wanted to accomplish, and we did this. In fact, what it led to new technology, and we have 3 patents pending right now on this process. And we plan on not releasing any of the trade secret, because that's where the value in the whole process is.
Right.
1 was not to have a smell. 2, not to have the color. And 3, to actually keep the medicinal component in the product. The technology is called Amrit because we use it as an additive, and we use that as a technology now that we can use in other beverages, non-alcoholic, water, etc., etc. So it's a very pretty design. We've won some awards for the design.
Doctor, in a market like the US, and please clarify how many states you're present in right now, but in a market like the US, having an Indian angle to your product, like vodka, how does it help the consumer? So for example, the Nirvana name and the Amrit technology behind it and the Shiva imagery and all those sorts of things, how does it help in a market like the United States? Who are the kind of communities or constituencies who find that interesting, attractive, something that pushes them to make the purchase?
One of the things that's really popular in America is, yoga, right? We talk about International Yoga Day.
Right.
You can't go down in any parts of of our city here and not find a yoga center, right, or a senior doing it. So everybody knows it. The younger people are more engaged in it. So we played off that, and we were very specific when I trademarked the process. I wanted to make sure that we kept to our focus, but at the same time, I didn't want people to feel like we were desecrating any type of imagery or anything like that. I was very cognizant of that. We originally thought that our demographic was going to be 21 to 35.
Right.
Our market research shows about 46% of our sale goes to there. But what's interesting enough is that we have a very large audience over the age of 65.
Wow.
That really drinks our vodka and gin. The vodka it makes them sleep. The gin helps me with their pains. Just maybe 2-3 years ago, the people were so anti, cannabis and things like that, because now they're more educated in what it really has to offer. On our bottle, we actually try to educate people on the benefits. When my wife writes articles and she writes about cannabis and things like that, she is having real life experience from a medical standpoint. It's not like, hey, I'm giving you a drug. So it's just a learning curve to getting people to really understand what's out, what really it is and isn't. We took it from 1 state. Now we're in 10 states. And we're probably going to, before the end of the year, we're going to add another 2 or 3 states. Our goal next year is to double our footprint, hopefully closing a big deal to export our product,
Right.
which will change the whole trajectory of the company in a different way.
You've spent building a career in the US for the last 35 years. What does it take to make it in the US?
In America, I think it's basically three things you need to do, which will never change in my opinion. Hard work, because there's no substitute for hard work, right? You mean, you know that.
Right.
The second one is education. I mean, shoot, I didn't have a choice. Even though my dad said follow my dreams, but the choice was, okay, I couldn't drop out of high school to follow my dreams. You
Right.
had to get educated, right? And the last one is that you should, America has this one special gift, and that is it doesn't put you in a box. I think 10 of the richest people in America didn't finish college, right? And I don't necessarily embrace that, because I think education is super important. But what it does is it allows you to, if you make a mistake, you're not castigated to the outside. You still have an opportunity to fail, try again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ram. That was very interesting. We got a lot of insight about, working in a country like America, building a career as an entrepreneur, building brands, all those sorts of things. Thank you so much for taking out time. It's late in the US right now, and I appreciate you staying up and doing this with us. I'll let you now go back to your kids and your family and your night time. Thank you so much for your time. Cheers.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hi guys, InsideIIM has come up with an exciting new one-on-one mentorship product where you get to interact with superstar managers from different businesses, different functions. You can ask them everything around your career, your education, your future success. If you are interested, the link is in the description below. Thanks.